Alright, Department of Section and Department of Instruction 2026 DoD Use of Federal Bureau of Investigation and Guardianship. DoD Instruction 2026 DoD Use of the Federal Bureau of Investigation FBI with a Guardianship Office Under Secretary of Defense Policy December 4, 2019. Clear for public release available Directive Division website esdwhs.mil DoD Instruction 2026 Suspicious Activity Reporting 23 214 is amended. John C. Rude, Undersecretary of Defense of Policy, issuing with according to the authority of the Department Directive, the deal with the Department of Defense, the Directive 5111 November 30, 2006, with the Deputy Secretary of Defense Memorandum reissued the Department of Defense Instruction 2026 to a shuffle the policy assignment the responsible script of the pursuit of the DoD with the FBI and Guardian system delegates with the order to enable the effective administration of the e-Guardianship is designated with the Secretary of the Army, the DoD program, and with the DoD with the e-Guardian system. Established e-Guardian work group to oversee with the DoD with the e-Guardian system, facilitate compliance with the issue with all applicable laws and policy, and implement Part 23, Title 28 Code Regulations as you with the DoD use of the e-Guardian system. General issuance, applicability, and policy, Section 2, responsibility under Secretary of Defense Policy, Assistant Secretary of Defense of Homeland Defense and Global Security, CMO, the Director of Pentagon Force Protection Agency, General Counsel with the Department of Defense component heads, legal and law enforcement agencies, DoD component heads, Office Secretary of Defense component heads, Secretary of the Army, Geographical Combat Commands, e-Guardianship for pursuit of the purpose of the use of the e-Guardian system, description, access procedure, access policy, general access requirement, account types, application access procedure, sharing information, guardianship, the reporting suspicious activity, the SAR review policy, the quarterly audit reviews and process, EGWG function, EGWG membership acronym and definitions references. Section 1, General Issuance Information, Applicability Issuance, Office Secretary of Defense of the Military Departments, Officer of the Chairman of the Joint Chief of the Staff of the Joint Chief of the Combat Commands, Officer of the Inspector General of the Department of Defense, Defense Agency of the DoD Field Activity Organization, of the Department of Defense, refer to the collective of the invitation of the DoD components. DoD Law Enforcement Officer of the prescribed of the Department of Defense, Instruction 552518 with the DoD Civilian Military with the Defense Contract Personnel providing with the direct support of the DoD personnel performing law enforcement criminal intelligence. Activities, anti-terrorism operation information analysis planning personnel, the DoD personnel with the ATF's anti-terrorism officers pursuant to volume 1 DoD instruction 2016 with the DoD contract with on behalf of the DoD components with the law enforcement agency as prescribed by the DoD Instruction 5505 of the 17 involved with the suspicious activity reporting process with include with the operating system, the record with the define with the glossary with the any activity associated with the maintaining system and the record with the related with the suspicious activity reports, such as collecting with the disseminating records, but only with the extent especially with the terms of the relevant contractual vehicle. The DoD person who perform physical security, law enforcement security duty with the defense of the intelligence component of the personal detail with the Department of Defense lead for enforcement agencies, criminal investigation analysis, production, reporting functions, policy with the DoD policy is that e-Guardianship will stay with exclusive of the unclassified meaning with the Department of Defense role with the report specific activity of the FBI with the Military Criminal Investigation Organization and the Military Department Counterintelligence Organization, order to strengthen the efforts to protect with the DoD personnel with the reach of the terrorist activity, terrorist-related criminal activities. Installation of the anti-terrorism officer with the working over the direction control of the law enforcement authority with the installation director of the emergency service with the full access to the e-Guardian system, but will coordinate with the use of the information e-Guardian system with the law enforcement authority to ensure the use of the information does not adversely affect the law enforcement operations. Anti-terrorism officer of the not working within the direct control of the law enforcement authority, including the anti-terrorism operation information analysis planning personnel, will obtain the SAR suspicious activity report, threat information with a law enforcement and law enforcement member with a threat working group according with the volume 1 of the Department of Defense Instructions 2016 with the Department of Defense member personnel is MCIOs or what's MCIOs Military Criminal Investigation Organizations and Military Department Counterintelligence Organization will accept the information stored by the e-guardianship with this role of the well-conducted criminal counterintelligence investigation. Department of Defense performing the physical security activity, authority, direction, and control of the Department of Defense law enforcement agency with the active the e-guardianship with the facility submission with the suspicious activity report of the DOT with the applicable requirement prescribed in Part 23 with the Title 28 with the CFR applicable with the Department of Defense with the e-guardianship with all suspicious activity report must record the e-guardian reporting criteria prescribed in paragraph 3.5. Such activity report over the threats of available to DOT for the protection of the two with identify with the address of the terrorists with the other criminal threat activity directed against for the DOT personnel to reach over clearly easy possible. Identify personal organization involved with the terrorism criminal activity threats with the directive of the DOT element of the personnel will implement timely information of the drive with the risk of the management base with the detection, prevention, and deterrence respond with the protection after the assistant commander with the will establish with the appropriate force protection and measure with the according with the volume 2 with the Department of Defense instruction with the 2006 of the criminal investigation proceed with the prescribed with the DOD instruction 552518 provide possible criminal activity defined with the e-guardian's privacy impact assessment with the system suspicious activity threat information stored with the e-guardianship will appropriately secure with the volume 4 of the Department of Defense manual 5200.041. Suspicious activity report threat will be shared with the maximum extent with the permitted by the law with the regulation executive order with the DOD policy for the travel of the informational life cycle of the person identified with the information held with the strict compliant with the section 552 Title 5 United States Code of the Department of Instruction 5411 and 5411R with the other applicable law regulations policy, DOD instruction and criminal investigation personnel providing and assist with the Department of Defense law enforcement agency will comply with the provision procedure 12 of the Department of Defense 5241R with the issue of the will not affect the existing policy governing defense intelligence component of the activity collecting and retaining with the disseminating intelligence information concerning the U.S. person in with the Executive Order 12333, Department of Defense manual with the 5240 with the 01, DOD 5241R with the DOD Directive 524006, DOD component acquisition information concerning the non-DOD personnel with the name of the organization showing the terrorism information according to the Executive Order 13488, criminal investigation awareness for the reporting requirements according to the Department Directive 524006. Section 2, responsibly. Undersecretary of Defense of the Policy with addition with the responsible paragraph 2 with the Undersecretary of Defense of Policy with the Coordinated Secretary with the only other DOD component of maintaining the issue with the consistent with the policy proceed with the part with the 23 with the Title 28 with the CFR to DOD Instruction 5411 and 5411R, DOD Directive 524006 with the DOD Directive 5227 with the DOD Memorandum 524001, DOD 524001R, DOD Instruction 302521, Executive Order 12333, Executive Order 13388. The Assistant Secretary of Defense of the Homeland Security, Defense of the Security, and Defense and Global Security of the Authority of the Direction Control of the Undersecretary of Policy, Assistant Secretary of the Homeland Defense and Global Security of the Principal of Civilian Advisor of the Secretary of Defense of the U.S. Undersecretary of Defense of Policy of the Homeland Division, serve with the defense activities designated with the DOD civilian military member of the service as the EJWG with the provide with the management with the Department of Defense, each with the e-guardianship, the oversight of the duties include with the developing oversight policy with the program funding with the FBI with the support. You use the e-guardianship to accept the account of the management control of the coordinator with the Chief of Management Officer of the Department of Defense of the issue with the Chief Management Officer of the Department of Defense or CMO with the issue with the gun for the DOD component with the compliance with the requirements of the Department of Defense Instruction 5411 and 5411R, Department of Defense Directive with the 5227 in accordance with the Undersecretary of Defense of the Intelligence Development Pilot with the procedure with the analysis functions suspicious activity report with the data of the intelligence report with the according with the policy governing with the defense intelligence component with the activity collected with the retained with the disseminated with the information concerning U.S. personnel according with the Executive Order 12333 with the Department of Defense Manual 524001 5241R with the Defense Intelligence with the component of the conduct of the criminal investigation according with the DOD Directive 524002 with the countering espionage, international terrorism, criminal investigation insider threat and opponents with the Department of Inspection Instruction 524026 with the Department of Defense component with the acquisition information criminal intelligence accordance Department of Defense Directive with the 552518 with the Department of Defense component with the unset with the threat activity according with the Department Directive 5205 with the 16 interface with the FBI with the matter of the related to the e-guardianship policy funding with any of the proceed with the clone with the Department of Defense Instruction 302521 and coordinate with the Secretary of the Army, interface with the FBI with the matter of the related to the e-guardianship, proceed with the training with the comply with the following the requirement of the Department of Defense component with the view of the e-guardian system from FBI ancillary technical support requirements of the coordinate with the use of the Undersecretary of Defense policy to obtain the funding with the coordinate with the e-guardian management staff with the suspension of an individual e-guardian system, access to information reported in the paragraph 26C and 26H with the responsible for the DoD can provide evidence for remediation. Chief Management Officer of the Addition with the responsible paragraph 2A with the Chief Management Officer provide with the Assistant Secretary of the Director Homeland and Global Security for the Department Instruction 5411 and 5411R with the Department Directive 5227 and regard with the DoD component with the E-Guardian system. Director of the Pentagon Force Protection Agency, in addition with the responsible paragraph 2, with the Director of the Pentagon Force Protection Agency under the authority, direction, with the control of the Chief Management Officer with the Director of the Ministry of the Office of the Chief Management Officer, established procedure with the consistent with the issue with the except for the review with the enter into the E-Guardianship of the information suspicious activity review with the DoD personnel with working and visiting with the President reservation of the National Capital Region for the Director of the Pentagon Force Protection Agency with the responsibility. General Counsel of the Department of Defense, in addition with the responsible paragraph 2 with the Department of Defense Directive 514501, General Counsel of the Department of Defense provide with advice for the assistance of the legal matters that include with the review with the coordinate with all proposed policy, DoD issue of the proposed exemption of the DoD policy regarding the E-Guardianship of the DoD with the component with the heads of the law enforcement agency, in addition with the responsible paragraph 27 of the DoD component, head of the DoD law enforcement agency, the balance with the need with the authority to report with the collect with the pertaining share of information with the suspicious activity with the need with the protect with the property, privacy with the civil liberty with the developing legislative with the proposal with the DoD implementation regulation, proceed with the pertain with the expand with the particular authority, provide adequate guidelines oversight with the establishment of the purpose the limit of the authority of the report, collect the retain with the share with the information suspicious activity, ensure with the adequate protection and train with existing, protect with the privacy, civil liberties and conform with the applicable requirements include with the Department Directive Defense Directive 5227 and then Section 485 of the Title 6 of the United States Code, establish procedure that comply with the implement policy and procedure that establish prescribed in addition with the as rule with the conduct with the necessary to ensure their respective component compliance with such of the rules regulation. Department of Justice may show the use of the E-Guardian system, provide adequate funding with the personnel that enable the components to use the E-Guardian system effectively, designate law enforcement investigator office personnel management occupational series with the 1805 with the 1811 of the military equivalent serve with the component with the E-Guardian program management to provide oversight of their component use of the E-Guardian system with respect to the activity reporting process and ensure with compliance with the issuing with the developed, the conducted training with consistent with the requirements of the issuance, assigned with the employee, the detailed personnel with the floor approving the user with the initial action of the E-Guardian system with the Department of Defense component with specific suspicion of the activity awareness of the campaign to enhance the detection, prevention, and protection efforts. Conjunction Secretary of the Army provides overall program of the management of the DoD use of the E-Guardian system report compliant with the account of the management training with the suspicious activity report with the accountability Secretary of the Army to designate as part of the quarterly audit review process. The Department of Defense component heads with the DoD component heads establish procedures to comply with the issue with the ensure with the comply with the Part 23 of the Title 28 State Code Federal Regulation. Each of the tables procedure with the share of the information guardianship with the other DoD office security defense component with the maintaining the record of the information share with the require with the person pertaining with the criminal investigation activity with the complete with the regular training on the Part 23 Title 28 CFR. Share with third party suspicious activity reporting system with the may acquire with the share with the information share over the entire suspicious activity and guardianship with the system with the guard proceed with the tendering with the suspicious activity information the third party system the guardianship. So proceed with the person performing physical security with the non-law enforcement security duties with the report with the suspicious activity in accordance with the issuance. The Office Secretary of Defense component head, the Office Secretary of Defense component head is established procedure with the implement of the issue of the personnel with the report suspicious activity, Secretary of the Army, additional with the responsibility, paragraph 2 and 6, 2 and 7 of the Secretary of the Army, provides overall program with the Department of Defense guardianship with the demand to develop the chart with the prescribed with the operating procedure with the designate with the DoD civilian employee with the serve with the military with the facilitator with the serve with the chair with the EGWG. With the Department of Defense component with the heads and ensure with the compliance with the E-Guardianship with the account with the management requirements of the established procedure with the execute with the quarterly audit review with the Department of Defense component with the account with the ensure with the E-Guardianship with the list access limited to the authorized personnel. Proper reporting accounting system authorization report with the E-Guardianship with the established guidance with the procedure with the ensure with the DO with the ensure with the DoD component with the DoD personnel with the activity of the E-Guardian system receive with the training with the safeguard property with the E-Guardianship with the T10 geographical combat command addition with the responsible for the paragraph 27 of the geographical combat command established procedure with the periodically formulated update with the protective with the measure with the implement with the information driven the notification risk management based detection prevention deterrence over the response with the protection efforts based on the suspicious activity threat information analysis of the FP with the purposes. Section 3, E-Guardianship pursue for the purpose of the use of the E-Guardianship for the purpose of the DoD with the E-Guardianship of the DoD personnel to provide with the type of criminal investigation, terrorism, criminal activities directive with the DoD's elements of the purpose of the Secretary and the primary purpose of the enable the Department of Defense law enforcement agency with the review of the chair of the system suspected activity coordinated with one another with the FBI with the as able to identify with the personal territory of the activity with the DoD personnel with the asset with the secondary purpose to enable the Department of Defense law enforcement agency to enable the protection efforts for DoD as for the personal against with the threat with the hazard the report of the suspicious activity for the Department of Defense, legal enforcement, with the FBI, with the criminal investigator, with the SA, with the non-terror, with the Malay, with the criminal investigation, including information with the potential insider with the threat activity, in accordance with the two-part vetting process with the prescribed in paragraph 3A, with the Department of Force, the law enforcement agency, with the determine whether the reports of suspicious activity to have an association, potential association with the terrorist, other activity system description, e-guardian system function with the alert, with the reporting system, with the suspicious activity done along with the long-term data repository, law enforcement personnel must validate with the e-guardianship of the report of the problem. The data can move quickly through the system with the e-guardianship of the time as emergency with the reporting system, with the command contact with the chain with the command with the local, joining with the terrorism task force, according to the local perceived the urgent mandate with the potential link with the terrorism and after emerging with the report with the conducted information submitted with the e-guardian system as appropriate. The e-guardian system feeds with the shared data repository view with the FBI with the classified guardian threat reporting system, the DoD personalized with the JTTF Joint Terrorism Task Force, National Joint Terrorism Task Force with the active with the clarified guardian system, active with the guardian information core with the Joint Terrorism Task Force and the National Joint Terrorism Task Force. Access procedure for the access trouble, the issue with the threat of the conversion of the e-guardian record with the personal use for the use of another person criminal violation 6741 Title 18 United States Code. DoD component active with the use of the information concerning the e-guardian system consistently authorized for reference to the e-guardian system identified with the issue with the applicable the FBI system of the record proud notified with the impact services unrestricted access e-guardianship limited to the Department of Defense law enforcement enforcement officer for the Department of Defense civilian military personnel law enforcement active with the defense contractor personnel with the supporting law enforcement function eligible to cover guardianship system accounts. Anti-terrorism also will need law enforcement information will carry over the anti-terrorism who do not work with under the direct control of the law enforcement authority must coordinate with the installation law enforcement authority so activity threatening information. The DoD personnel with the military criminal investigation officer for the access with the information control of the guardianship of the direction of the DoD component e-guardian program manager for supporting DoD personnel conduct with law enforcement activity authorized mission activity. DoD personnel over the military department criminal counterintelligence officer with the activity information control of the e-guardianship the direction discretion over the DoD component e-guardian program manager with the purpose of supporting intelligence mission with the provide with the information needed to collect with retain with the disseminated and with the Department of Defense manual 524001 and 5241 are with the DoD personal performance physical secure with the authority direction and control of the Department of Foreign Defense law enforcement agency that will have the access to the information with the control of the e-guardian system for the purpose of support of the conduct of the authorized physical security activities. New user can no longer register to be vetted except for the Part 23, Title 28 with the CFR training with the public portion of the National Criminal Intelligence Resource Center. Website with the registration and vetting of the new user will now be available to the authorized personnel only through the secure the website regional information sharing system over the criminal justice information law enforcement enterprise portal. General access requirements users can only access the e-guardian system online with the first action of the defense of the data exchange of the CJIS criminal justice information system or law enforcement enterprise and enforcement enterprise portal. This is the Department of Defense law enforcement agency that does not have access to the Department of DX or the Defense Data Exchange that not authorized with the Defense of Data Exchange with the user that must first apply with the criminal justice information system. Law enforcement enterprise portal with account with the request of the e-guardian. Do not DoD personnel who is law enforcement responsible for request the access to the e-guardian system reserves to have access to the Department of Defense data exchange with the criminal justice information system and the law enforcement enterprise portal with the subsidy guardian account. DoD organization will not entitle the Department of Defense data exchange to access will continue the joint chairman criminal joint investigation system and the law enforcement enterprise portal accounts for the cross access e-guardianship. Contracts must be sponsored with the current with the DoD employment with the active of the Department of Data Exchange or criminal justice information law enforcement and enterprise portal with the account with the obtain access initial activity guardianship of the completion of specific activity line officer with the training video of the bitch drove the scene with the reporting protection privacy and civil liberties all of the new account holder must complete with the training sign with the e-guardian system 30 day with being granted access with the system access with the terminated with by the FBI. DoD components will monitoring you for the training staff will deactivate with the accounts of untrained personnel. Although it's not required with the commander of the ship with the incurrence of the personnel, but the use of the information e-guardianship with the criminal investigation activity, investigation, and possible criminal activity complete periodic part 23, Title 28, CFR and training and account types Alright, we there are four distinct types of the Guardian E-Guardian account with approval of the U with the DoD personnel with the DoD components below shell with the receive with the gram with the appropriate level of the E-Guardian says DoD component personnel with a four distinct E-Guardian account with approval of the DoD users of the read-only user accounts only allow the user ability to view reports with the E-Guardian SDRs and read only with the account with the appropriate anti-terrorism officer with the plan with the support of the personnel with included insight with threat analysis that we are not law enforcement analysis credential law enforcement officers. Offices. User account with the generally reserved with the individual receiver the report of the reports of suspicious activity responsible for the investigation with the conduct analysis of information from the belief of the national security, federal crime, and then the sign of the agency the with the account with the privilege of include with the ability to translate with the into the reports of the suspicious activity with the draft of the suspicious activity into the E-Guardian system and ability to review with the reports indication of the SDR. Level 1 L1 approve of the personnel with the L1 approve of the account with control of the dissemination of the E-Guardian system and approve of the level of responsibility all systems work with the electronically submitted with the law. Level 1 approval or to Fusion Center with approval to the review with approval of the release of the E-Guardian system. Level 1 approve of the account with the privileges and could have the privileges as user accounts as well as the ability to approve of the suspicious activities for the release of the FC of the approval of the FC of the approver account is reserved for the individuals assigned to the FC with the duties of the value of the intent of the performance administrative functions with the refer of the E-Guardian of the FC approver review with approval of the intent with the release and E-Guardian of the FC with approval of the designated person with the receive of the system suspicious activity report analysis training with the application of the active with the receiver the application active with the routed through with the refer of the DoD component E-Guardian program and with the program manager designated with the account manager with you with the pending user feature of the E-Guardian approve with the disapprove of the E-Guardian account 3-4 sharing information guardianship with the DoD law enforcement personnel accounting information E-Guardianship to make sure that the information with the intelligent component agent for the conducting the FP with the combating terrorism mission with the complying with the requirements part 23 with the title 28 with the CF with the R485 with the title 69 its code DD organization mission with the include with the responsible to conduct the criminal investigation according to the Department of Defense Directive 5240 with the 20 with the countering espionage internal espionage the counterintelligence inside with the red according with the Department of Defense Directive 5240 26 other insider threats according with the Department Directive 5205 information with the name of the E-Guardian reporting not produced with the user agency the activity made without further disseminated for the converted over the analytic predictor without with approval of the operating of the Department of Defense local enforcement agency non-DoD law enforcement agency or an E-Guardian administrator of the DoD component heads with the ownership of the component with the cell with the receiver with the notified with the defense inside with the threat management analysis center the receiver with the Department of Defense component with the inside with the threat with the inside with the threat information pursuant to the Department of Defense Directive 5205 after implementation regulations the DoD component of the program manager with the ownership of the component of the perceived with the sharing of the information E-Guardianship with the following minimum standards established maintaining the record system indicating that have been given the information stored with the E-Guardianship of the relief and the relief of the information of the data that each of the disseminating outside of the component designated with a properly trained person to verify with the need to know with the right to know with anyone requesting information on the E-Guardianship of the issue of the requester identify with the need with the right to know through the written inquiry of the E-Guardian information report suspicious activity pursuing with information sharing with environmental function standard with 200 knowing with a suspicious activity with the community ISE F7200 DoD personnel user L1 approval of the FC with approval account with suspicious activity M3 with the following two-way parts of the before the enter of the suspicious activity into the federal E-Guardian system. Remove each report suspicious activity against the E-Guardian reporting criteria in paragraph 35B enter the report suspicious activity in the E-Guardian system suspicious activity report it meets one or more criteria indicated with the potential need for the terrorism and the other criminal activity. DoD personnel with the L1 approval of the FC with approval of the accounts of the review each report of the suspicious activity determine it identifies one or more of the following criteria to define the glossary. Breach of an attempted intrusion, misrepresentation, threat, loss, diversion, sabotage, tampering, vandalism, cyber attacks, and express an implied threat, manned aviation activity including flyover landings, unmanned aerials, activity including flyover landings, illicit information testing, probing, security, recruiting, providing financial support, observation, surveillance, photography, material observation and surveillance photography, materials acquisition or storage, acquisition expertise, weapon collection, discovery, incident specified for the defense of the industry-based sector of the Presidential Policy Directive 21, the Department of Defense Directive 302240, unauthorized absence of the international National Military Students Pursuing Secretary Assistant Management Manual, pursuing the use of L1, approval of the FC with approval of the count with 1 to the eGuardian system with suspicious activity reporting, guarantee third-party system that is required with authorized for such if the DoD component with a match for the criteria of the paragraph 3.5 with the suspicious activity reporting missing with the information complete, eGuardian military committee, the military criminal investigation officer of the military department, counterintelligence officer, the person with the contact with the person with the organizing with a generated report with attempt to obtain the necessary information complete with a report with a third-party system may not be used with the reporting suspicious activity directly to the FBI with the collecting, retaining, disseminating suspicious activity report. Internal records no maintainment of the individual exercise of the rights guaranteed with the First Amendment of the Constitution except for the specially authorized statute. A specially authorized individual who, in the records, maintain the record of the pertainment with the scope of the authorized law enforcement activity following specific category of the information within not enter the Guardian system, classified information pursuant to the Executive Order 1352, safe for the information, knowledge of the sensitive method of techniques derived in accordance with Chapter 36 of Title 50 of the United States Code of known as Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act with the Grand Jury Information, Federal Taxpayer Information, sealed with indictments, sealed court proceeding, confidential human control of the witness information, any other information dissemination prohibited of the law. Department of Law Enforcement Agency to make effort for the system application report for the e-guardianship at the local level. The Department of Law Enforcement Agency is not available with the local force enforcement person with the system authorizing report into the e-guardianship on behalf of the Department of Defense Directive. DoD components with the organic lead enforcement organization over the end of the report of the system suspicious activity report either the reporting the Department of Defense law enforcement element of the nearest local law enforcement jurisdiction. The FC with the approval of the member of the guardianship of the categories information for paragraph 3.5 and even does not include the Guardian report. Only person for the user of the L1 approval of the FC with approval of the count of the into the system analysis report into the guardianship of the system. The suspicious activity report may be reported to law enforcement property citizen all government personnel may work directly with the law enforcement personnel with observe the investigation activities. DoD components without their own law enforcement agents and law enforcement organizations will report suspicious activity to either the reporting Department of Foreign law enforcement element of the nearest local law enforcement and jurisdiction. And once entered the draft of the guardianship report review with the initial draft of the LQ with approval. The suspicious activity review process of the DoD component of head will delegate the authority of the appropriate organization style the process of the review of the system activity review components of the submit with the nexus of the terrorism the other criminal activity. DoD heads of the delegate with the approval of the authority of the review of the process of the no lawyer of the designated of the Guardian Program Office of DoD component of the component that does not have the signed with the defense criminal with the investigating organization. Designated e-Guardian Program Office may request the local of the FC with the end of the e-Guardian management staff serve with the responsibility to disapprove of the draft of the system authorization. Suspicious activity report with the DoD component of the personal submit all the review and ensure the system draft of the suspicious activity report comply with the scheme of its issuance. During the review process of the initial investigation process under the take of the report of the Department of Law Enforcement Agency in accordance with the FBI, the Joint Terrorist Task Force, National Joint Terrorist Task Force, finding specialist activity report that indicate the terrorism criminal activity specific of the information with the path of the government with the SEO with the dissemination on the FBI with the classified Guardian system analysis. One's e-Guardian with the task force of the officer with the sum of the joint with the task terrorist task force of the National Joint Terror with the task force of the incident with the term of the nexus terrorism, the next of the terrorism and the will engage the FBI with the appropriate action with the dictate of the FBI policy. The report will be obtained with the e-Guardian SG over the period down to expand with the 5 years. No nexus of terrorism contained with the indicator of the criminal activity with the suspicious activity report with the FBI with the Pentagon Force Protective Action with the Department of Criminal Investigation Office of the Military Criminal MCDO, the Department of Law Enforcement Agency, as appropriate regional local of the Pentagon Force Protection Act for the Department of Criminal Investigation Office of the Military Counterintelligence Department Office over the Department of Defense Law Enforcement Agency of the Main maintaining the relationship with local FBI office and cover the exchange of the information staff of these referrals. No clear link of the terrorism of the criminal activity of the result of the FBI Joint Terrorist Staff with the Pentagon Force Protection Act or DCIO investigation review of the guardianship no later than 180 days after the suspicious activity report into the guardianship. DOD component criminal with the CI investigation with the make of the collateral joint with investigation into the identify with the system activation suspicious activity review process requirement. Appendix B of the 2011 Memorandum of Understanding between the FBI and the DoD governing information sharing with the operational coordination and investigation responsibility. For the specific activity review process, the DoD components maintain the record of all suspicious activity reports into the need guardianship of the account of the system activity, specific activity reports through quarterly audit review of the process outlined in paragraph 3.7. 3.7. The quarterly audit review process of the DoD component of the e-guardianship will system track and comply with the report quarterly with the information paragraph of the 3.7. The designating of the e-guardian program manager pursuant to the paragraph 260 of the DoD component provide the following information for the respect of the e-guardian program and the DoD program manager for no later than 10 duty days after conclusion each official quarter with the total number of the e-guardianship at the end of the quarter with the information you will determine in the account of the base of the issue with the system following information from the reporting official quarterly year. Total number of the system suspicious activity report with the interim of the guardian during the quarter of the number of the system activity suspicious activity reported closed over the yes next to the terror during the quarter of the system suspicious activity remaining opening under the assignment of the during the quarter number of the system suspicious activity reclosed with the inclusion of the next of the terror of the during the quarter and suspicious activity over the next close of the next of the terror of the during the quarter number of the specific activity review reports for the designated of the current electronic copy of the e-guardian report certificate yes next to the terrorism comes with new significant activity best practice of the common channel of the area of the needed support with the number of in-person e-guardian training events during the quarter, number of distant learning training events during the quarter, total number of personal training all the training events during the quarter, EGWG. The function EGWG with the main correlating need with the facilitative development of the DoD policy regarding specific activity reporting DoD components active training with the use of the e-guardian system. The EGWG will promote the DoD component e-guardians the capability value add me with providing information command with the overall with the FE with the information common operating picture. The review of the quarterly audit review of the process of the prescribed of the paragraph 3.7 the gap of the discuss of the issue of the recommended core for the action with the control of the DoD component with the complaint with the issue with the applicable with the guidance for the appropriate use of the e-guardian with the conjunction with the decision with the form with the DoD component to report with the progress due of the end of the training with the e-guardian system and correct with the best practice for the highlight with the issue with the have with the system operation supported the issue with the facilitate coordinate with the synchronize with the current issue of the future of the guardian development FBI man with the relay with the policy and proceed with the training the facility with the identification coordination founding with the requirement to enable the DoD component with the training with the e-guardian system research with ancillary technical support from the FBI. EGWG with the membership of the members, difficulty with the representation following the organization management, oversight of the official of the assignment, the leadership of the office of the Assistant Secretary of Defense, Homeland, Global Security, Geospatial Security of the chairperson of the EGW with the coordinated some of the leadership of the Army, Officer of the Provost, Marshal of the Military Criminal Investigation Office of the National Guard Bureau with the Combat Command with the Defense Agent with the Defense Field Activity, Law Enforcement Activity, E-Guardian Resource Management Staff with the responsibility, manage oversight of the official of the promoter of the DoD commander of the E-Guardian System, the value added with the capable with the Department of FAP with the security of the law enforcement mission, act assurance effort to approve the EGWG minutes, EGW chair, coordinated with the Guardian with the resource of the management staff with the meeting of the Department of Defense Information Technology Operational Support Requirements ensure the strategic issue with the discovery of the present with the appropriate authority of the resolution provided with the recommendation representative regarding program management providing recommendation organization regarding policy training the next requirement provide relation with the help of ensure the relevant Department of Defense instructions 2026 with the EGW with the coordinated program with the concurrence of the Office of the Assistant Secretary of Defense Homeland Geospatial Information with the DoD non-compliant with the issue with the other applicable with the AGWG for the discussion of the development of recommendation solution including the recommendation office of the DoD emergency e-guardian policy with the appropriately coordinated with the EGW with the member to identify issue with the discovery with the regard with the Department of Defense guardian with the implemented policy with the under user commonly trained with the access of the requirement schedule with the EGW meeting with the necessary with the developer publishing with the distributor the agenda with the presentation and ensure with all members of at least 5 days in advance meeting. With the prepare with the draft meeting with the distributor, each of the EGWG members, allowing the members adequate time to review the comment for with the draft of the EGW meeting for the officer of the Assistant Secretary of Defense, Homeland, Geospatial, and official of the Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense of the continuity of the mission and assurance the final approval to maintain management of the EGWG charter, operating pursuit of the other rec with the publication, distributed copies when necessary. Glossary. FP was Force Perception, EG was E-Guardian work group, SCR was Shared Data Repository, and then We have references, understanding the FBI with the DOD, with the criminal intelligence system operating policy with a member of the delegation of authority, proceed with the governing of the activity of the DOD intelligence components, affect the United States person with the Department of Defense, privacy with the policy with the mission surveillance for the November, under Secretary of Defense of Policy with the General Counsel of the Department of Defense, acquisition information concerning the person, organization, and that affiliated with the Department of Defense, DOD, intel with the threat program, counterintelligence awareness program, DOD anti-terrorism program implementation, DOD anti-terrorism standards, DOD anti-terrorism program implementing, DOD force protection coordination system, and the defense support with Australian law enforcement agencies, counter-espionage, international terrorism, counterintelligence, insider threat, DOD privacy, civil liberties, collection, maintenance, use of the dissemination, personal identifiable information, law enforcement information, DOD law enforcement activities, law enforcement criminal intelligence with the DOD information security program, control of unclassified information, procedure governing conduct with the DOD intelligence agencies, activities, United States intelligence activities, further strengthen the share of the terrorism information, particularly American classified national security information, Federal Bureau investigation, Fbieguardian privacy, impact assessment, current edition, information sharing, environmental function standard with suspicious activity reporting, critical infrastructure security resiliency, security system management manual, United States Code, Title 5, Section 552, Privacy Act 1974, Title 6, Section 485, Title 10, United States Code Title 18, Section 641, Title 50, Chapter 36, Nominal Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act is amended. And that was look at the DoD instructions for 2026 DoD use of Federal Bureau investigation e-guardianship system.